Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go.
Hey, man, I need y'all to hit the like button, man. My little homie, he done changed outfits on you. Now he got his bulletproof vest on. I told y'all he a shooter. Everybody keep playing. Y'all don't want to hit the like button. He done got his vest on. He came out with his nice little outfit on the first time. Everybody didn't want to hit the button. Now he done got his vest on. He going full 50 Cent on you. I'm telling you, I done seen him before, man. He just get wilder and wilder and wilder. I need y'all to hit that like button. Let's get him to calm down. Say, homie, calm down, homie. I need you to calm down, homie. I need you to calm down, little homie. Calm down. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And today, I've been trying to push through some videos through this algorithm that would actually hit on politics, but it's acting stupid. So we swing it in a different direction. I don't even feel like wasting the time fighting with them just to give truth. So we'll go to another form of truth. Excuse me, and we'll just go deeper. We'll go way, way deeper. And they tend not to dive this deep because they know most people won't dive this deep. They tend not to care. So let's touch upon the non-human future that's being laid out in front of us. And no matter how you look at it, the future, there are entities and forces in the future that are trying to ensure that it's non-human. I want to start with some of the things that Stan Deyo said in the interview with me just recently. This is if you want to see the entire interview, this is the thumbnail. It will say, keep watching the waters, but you'll see the Garden of Eden, giants and aliens, Stan Deyo, right? But watch this. We're going to jump into this a little bit into the video. This is where we're talking about the Garden of Eden. This is him in the Garden of Eden. This is him showing us the Garden of Eden. I want to get to the point to where we talk about the fallen angels and where they went. Here we go right here. And talk about Jesus, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'll have to defer to you, and I'm not.
Yeah, but I remember reading somewhere it was like he went to the Decapolis and spread the word about Jesus. If I'm not mistaken, that's talking about the man who was all the demons of the Gadarenes were expelled out of his body, and they went to the pigs. Most people don't realize after that he went on to preach the gospel of Jesus and preach the name Jesus, not necessarily the gospel. We're where I want to be. All right, here we go.
Burned up and boiled up so much of the seabed from not only the sea, but from down underneath in the crust of the earth in the Moho discontinuity, it's called, 15 miles down. It boiled that up. And it was hot water coming up from the broken depths. And it boiled up these clouds, which became rain clouds. And so they had rain for the first time, and a rainbow, of course, at the end of the trip of Noah. All this was caused by this impact of this large asteroid. And it, as I say, it moved all this area over here. Australia used to be, you can see the tip of it used to be where this line is right here.
Oh, it's clear. You can see it. You can definitely see it. It's clear. Wow.
And there was also people said, okay, well, what about Lemuria? Where's Lemuria? If you found Atlantis, where's Lemuria? Well, in the 19th century, there was a scientist saying, I want to find out where the lemurs, how they got to over here in Asia, because the lemurs' home island is Madagascar.
Right.
And so he called the missing continent Lemuria. And it was all these islands here that were connected over here to Madagascar. You can see where the connecting lines were, where they all joined. And so that's where Lemuria, the legend of that came from. It was from the countries that were there before the impact of that asteroid. Fascinating stuff. I mean, you can see, looking at these mud maps, you can see how everything was shoved over.
It literally looks like somebody did this and just push it over.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing stuff anyway. Let's stop that for a second here. That lived through that, and they were in this area here.
That someone can expect in a conversation like this. I just wish people had this and knew this.
Well, that's the purpose of this, trying to share it with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is wild.
Now, about your giants, I talked to some scholarly rabbis,
Mm-hmm.
one from New York who was over in Perth at the time in Australia. And I asked him about the giants. I said, how did Og, the king of Bashan, obviously a giant, how
Right.
did he survive the flood? Well, he says, we think that he actually grabbed onto Noah's ark, onto the cabin, and Noah fed him through that hole in the window. And I said, you don't really believe that? He said, well, that's the official look at it. So I looked at this on Google Earth, and the giants were in Canaan here, and that's why Joshua had to come in and kill certain tribes that had, polluted DNA, from
Right.
the crossbreeding. That's why we had giants. That's why we had Goliath and his brothers. That's why we had Og, the king of Bashan, over
Mm-hmm.
here in this area where all Damascus.
Make sure you might be trying to share something and I'm missing it. Hold on. I'm messing up. There we go. Okay. That's all right. Go ahead.
Oh, can you see it
All
now?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it. That's my fault. That's not you. That's me. Okay.
Okay.
Show the areas again?
Okay. Well, the area where the giants were in Canaan were here, where Joshua had to come in and kill all the livestock, all the people, everything in those villages because they had corrupt DNA. Now,
Right.
this tells you right there that they were survivors of the flood.
Yeah.
The flood in Hebrew, the area that was damaged by the flood was called ha'eretz, and eretz can mean locale, region, country, and so the tidal waves that swept across the planet several times from the impact washed all away almost everyone, but there were some of the fallen ones in their crossbreeds that lived through that, and they were in this area here. This is where the legend of Hercules was. He was born in these mountains between the Lebanon and anti-Lebanon mountains here.
Mm-hmm.
And the giants, the king of Og, Og, the king of Bashan, was here. Here's Galilee, and here's Galilee, and here's Bashan here. Now, Bashan has been covered over by at least 13 large volcanoes. And to give you an idea, Damascus is here. And this area here had over 100 volcanic fumaroles. And these black ash areas in here are upboilings of magma to this day that covered all of the land of Bashan where the giants were. So that, plus another couple of things about where the 10 sons of Poseidon, there were 5 pairs of twins, where they put their homes. Instead of down here on Poseidon Island, they put their homes over here in the wooded area, the nice highlands. And there's even one city today that has survived carrying, Decapolis. Let me put that to, let me just find this, list them for you. Okay, now what you're going to see here, the green pins are the Decapolis cities that the Greeks built over here, and with the Roman help later. They built these cities in honor of their gods, little g ods.
Okay.
And one of them was Gadara, right here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kings, 10 kings of Poseidon that moved over that area, was Gadarius. And that was his city right there. It's an ancient city that's still there. And that was the city that one of Poseidon's sons actually formed. Now, people look at the Decapolis cities, the term Decapolis, saying 10 cities. Well, it's not plural. What they call Decapolis cities is a Decapolis city. In other words, the sons of Poseidon built a city, and that was a Decapolis city of the 10. So they built several of these cities, and they're not just 10. There's maybe 14 or 15 of them they're now discovering. All this area was populated by the sons of Poseidon.
Now let me stop right there. All right. So when he starts talking about the sons of Poseidon, he's basically talking about sons and daughters, bloodlines, and fallen angels. All right. That brings me to the next thing that we're going to talk about. So might be like, well, DW, where are we going with this? We're going deep. All right. So when we get to the point now where we see all of this warfare you see playing out here, all across this map, from a spiritual warfare perspective, is the sons of God versus the sons of Cain or the sons of the fallen ones. And you clearly see it the more you pay attention to the events. That's why I map the events like this, because I could normally, this is how I would see things in my head, be like, oh, this connects to this and this connects to this. But in order for me to relay that message to people, I would have to put it in a visual format. So if we were to highlight all of this, like if we were to take this entire thing, we would take literally everything on this side that's going on and combine it all as one, right? All these events, all this other stuff, all this other crap relates directly to what's going over here. I call it future investments because I am looking for investments, things to invest in the future. But this is the next move of them here. So all this stuff is swayed and affected by the entities that are building on this side. So everything you see, all the way down to hell, Trump and the people that he's arguing with. Oh, I messed some stuff up when I did that. I might have to undo. Trump and the tariffs, and I mean, it all relates. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely undo. Edit, undo. Edit, undo. No, edit, undo. Control Z. Let me see. Control Z. All right, let's leave that in the format it was in because that just threw everything off. But everything you see expanding out, when you want to get to what's coming in the future, you're going to go here because you're going to find what the actual active researchers of the sons and daughters of Cain are talking about. So this is the present, and the present now is trying to shape the future. This is them shaping the future for us. These events that are happening, for example, the China trade war that we discussed this morning, these type of events are events that are shaping a pro-human future. And it's important that we define it as a pro-human future. And then these events over here are shaping a non-pro-human future. And if you don't believe me, let's just start with Elon and what Elon says.
2029 or 2030 or thereabouts is it's not a that's I think a reasonable time frame for where you'd expect the cumulative digital compute to probably exceed the cumulative biological compute of higher level brain functions.
And then from then forever, yeah, and still in dispatching and diverging forever from there.
Yeah, and then yeah, where do things go from there? I don't know. Probably continues.
Now he says,
I think
we're talking about biological compute, your ability, your brain's ability to biologically compute things, versus non-biological compute, human versus non-human. Let's listen to Elon again.
29 or 2030 or thereabouts is it's not a that's I think a reasonable time frame for where you'd expect the cumulative digital compute to probably exceed the cumulative biological compute of higher level brain functions.
And then from then forever, yeah, and still in dispatching and diverging forever from there.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. All right. So for the average person who's in this lemur over here, this is what the average person is trapped in. They're not, for example, we are looking at like this higher level lemur, which would be this higher level map, right? The average person is zoomed in to this level, which is a George Floyd type level. And that's what they see. I mean, that's the only thing that's on their mind is that one thing. When you start to zoom out, remember, I would often say if you take 100,000-foot view at things, you'll see things differently. But to take 100,000-foot view, you really have to back out of things, right? And when you back all the way out, you realize that not only is it all a form of spiritual warfare, but the real battle is here. Because these are people who are trying to shape the non-human future. So let's go to this video, questioning our human future. And I know there are people who don't like this guy. I don't particularly care for this guy. He's quite disgusting. But if we want to have a better understanding of what's coming down the pipeline, we need to go see what their prophets are saying. He is a prophet of the New World Order, which means he comes out and he speaks that future into existence, and he prepares the way, and he's an advisor for the New World Order.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this issue briefing. It's extraordinary issue briefing, which we arranged just because there was so much interest when the program was released to the public last week that Professor Hariri here was going to be speaking in the Congress Hall. There was such an intense amount of interest to get him in a smaller, more conducive environment. And I can't think of anywhere more conducive than here in the media center.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't think that anybody has any idea how the world would look like in 40 or 50 years, let alone a century. The only thing we are certain is that it's going to be completely different from what it is today. I don't remember who said it, but somebody said that if they tell you about the world in 2050 and it sounds like science fiction, it's probably not true. But if they tell you about the world of 2050 and it doesn't sound like science fiction, it's definitely not true. So this is the best I can do. I mean, the message is that technology is not deterministic. It's not like, okay, now we have AI and bioengineering, so this is going to happen no matter what we do. No, it opens up an entire menu of possibilities and nothing is determined in advance.
I was in part of my preparation for this meeting. As you know, we focus quite heavily on the fourth industrial revolution here, and it was a.
Let me stop right here and say he started it off with a lie, saying that. What kind of deja vu crap is this? Have you ever seen a moment, but you don't remember where you saw that moment at? My moments that I see tend not to be bad, but they tend to be significant. And I'm trying to remember what the significance of this moment was. It's not insignificant. We need to dig deeper into this.
Again, popularizing a book, this time by our professor, Klaus Schwab, our founder and executive chairman, a couple of years ago. And I was looking to see what the narrative had been that had followed from this book. And in my reading last year, I found that well, welcome everybody. Welcome, or signs of hope that we're kind of attacking this in the right way. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome.
Then it was, I'm a medievalist, so I tend to look at everything through the prism of the Middle Ages. And believe me, the Middle Ages was full of far worse fake news than what we are seeing today. I think that the really big problem is the flood of information of any kind. Even the truth is problematic when you're just flooded by enormous amounts of truthful but irrelevant information, or too much information to make sense of and to create some kind of meaningful picture. What we are really missing is not just the ability to tell the difference between what's true and what's not true. It's the ability to make sense of the big picture. This is the real difficulty. And in this sense, the problem with media is not so much whether that the stories are true or not. It's just that to what extent does the media focus on really helping people to have an understanding of the big picture, or is it just focused on pushing the next story? Doesn't matter if the story is true or not. This
is how you know this man is a full-on demon. He just told you that the truth doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the story is true or not. It's about controlling the flow of information. He just said it in a fancy way. Being flooded with too much information doesn't matter if it's true or not. So he shoo-shooed away truth and says that it's the flow of information that's the problem with our media. No, it's not the flow of information that's the problem with our media. It's the lies that's in the media that's with the rate of lies that's the problem. So flow of truth will be no problem. Some people may be overwhelmed with the truth, and that's okay. They need to be overwhelmed with the truth. And the truth hurts, and the truth wakes you up and opens your eyes. But to a flood of lies, or to say, hey, we need to control the flow of media, and then we don't care if it's a lie or it's the truth, just tells me that you want to be in a position of a gatekeeper to information.
For me, is the real issue.
Which is interesting because you mentioned a kind of slight distrust of governments to put in place the kind of long-term thinking you're talking, and a slight distrust of the media for putting across that bigger picture. This is a multi-stakeholder embracing organization and meeting. What stakeholder groups are best positioned to do this kind of long-term thinking that we need to do?
And that's the point he's making. Government is not a stakeholder. Me and all the corporations are stakeholders. Their concept and idea is stakeholders should be in control. And he names it, this is kind of a multi-stakeholder group.
It would be easy to say science, but that's too easy because when you don't have responsibility, then you can have all kinds of ideas and theories and talk big. I don't think that a government of scientists ruling the world will necessarily do a better job. What we need is not to get rid of the states or get rid of the corporations, but to get them on board and to work with them and through them.
Gentleman in the front row, let's move on to you, sir. Please wait for the microphone.
So if we as a species are changing...
Just remind us,
I'm Vikram Chandra from NDTV. If you said that we as a species are changing and the era of sapiens might be coming to an end, since you wrote Homo Deus, have you thought any further as to what could be coming and what sort of a entity is likely to replace sapiens?
That's an impossible question to answer because given the ability to re-engineer bodies and brains and minds, then our imagination too is up for grabs. So I can tell you what sapiens like us would like to do with things like bioengineering or direct brain-computer interfaces. They would like to extend their lifespans, to be more healthy, to be more beautiful, and so forth and so on. But once you change the basic parameters of the human brain and of the human mind, I have absolutely no idea what the new kinds of entities would like to do with these technologies. I mean, so far in history, what we have seen is humans just like us changing the world outside them. So they cut down forests, they build bridges, they build factories, all kinds of things. But the real change now is that we are gaining the ability to start re-engineering not the world outside us, but the world inside us, inside the body and the brain. And by definition, you don't know where this is leading because you're still stuck with your brain. So if you can imagine what the future entities will do with the technology, they are not superior to you. They are just like you.
Now stop. Why is that significant? Because we already know what happened when humans became genetically modified in the past. It led to a gigantic flood and the whole earth being flooded and the whole earth being judged. Now, whether you say the reason why the genetic modification happened was because the angels came and had sex with women, whether you say it's because of the Anunnakis, whether you say it was aliens that made humans in a petri dish and left us on this planet, it doesn't matter the source at this point in time. I know what I believe my source of the information is. Doesn't matter what you believe the source is. We know what the outcome already was. And that's what we were talking about in the interview with Stan Dale. By the way, check out that interview. Go to standale.com. Stan can always use donations. But when you get deeper into it, we go to human and transhuman. And I said this last week. I said, hey, you know, the whole trans movement is not really about trans people in the way that we know it, right? It's not about like people want to transition sex. That's just the cover for it. It's about people. It's about the future of non-human species. People who have the future of CRISPR gene editing and gene splicing and the things that are non-human coming to the forefront because everyone else is like them. People talk about, oh, the lizard people and the Anunnakis and the Nephilim bloodlines and the blah, 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 blah. But have you ever once stopped to consider if everybody's like them and they're able to turn everybody into them, if everybody's a hybrid, then there is no threat to them because everybody's like them. If they can transition humanity to be more made in their image, they can claim to be God of humanity. So I'm 48 years old. In 50 years, I've died off. Everybody my age has died off. They've transitioned human beings to where human beings are not of the original DNA that they came onto this planet with. Everybody's genetically modified. History is rewritten. Now they can say, well, we're your gods. And technically they are your gods because you accepted their technology and accepted the rewriting of your genome by them. Now, they're not the original God. They're not the God, but they are your gods because they made you in their image. They remade you in their image. And it's one of the things that Urinal Noah Havari always talks about. But just a reminder, I want you to hear some of this conversation.
I'm interested because we just talked about this extremely popular book of Harari, Homo Deus. As I have you here, Natasha, and I have a theologian like Miroslav, I'm interested to see what, according to the two of you, is the difference between the God-man, Jesus Christ, and the man-God, which apparently, according to Harari.
And I want you to understand, these people and these things know that Jesus Christ is God, the man God. This is a conversation amongst scientists. There's no disputing amongst them who Jesus Christ was. I mean, there just is none. It's only plebs that dispute these things. They know who their enemy is. They know what their goal is. They understand what they're doing. But he opens it up with that. Let's let him go a little bit longer.
And a few others we can create through our technological things, and which is one of the reasons why, and maybe you can start with that, Natasha, you are also literally in the business of suspending life, and with the idea that at a certain moment technology will be on that level that people can live much longer or even forever. And because,
to be clear with you, suspending life means she's putting people in cryostasis where they're frozen and they're kept alive. With the idea and concept is that while you sleep, technology will advance to whatever ailment or issue you have can be cured. Now, you ain't got the money. I ain't got the money to go into cryostasis. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't got the money. I ain't got no money to be sleeping in a cryostasis chamber for 30 years. I mean, think about it. Can you afford to spend, let's just say, $3,000 a month for somebody to keep you alive in cryostasis and you don't work for, I don't know, let's say 36 months? Let's just make it 48 months, 24 months. That's $70,000, roughly $72,000. You have $72,000 to spend to just sit there like this, bug naked in a tube in a thing with gel, while they got all kind of diodes connected to you and you're frozen. No, you ain't got that kind of money. So when we start listening to these people talk, let's already understand and establish that this ain't no normal human beings that's partaking in this. And what I mean by normal, it's not the blue collar working person. This is super duper uber rich people. And I'll go furthermore to say this. If you can put somebody in cryostasis, like let's say George Soros. If George Soros can go into cryostasis for 50 years, which he has the money to do it because he got the money from us. George can sit there for 50 years. All kind of people could die. Governments could change. All this stuff could flip-flop around, barring there's no nuclear bombs, and there's no explosions, no mass viruses that kill everybody on the planet. When he wakes up and he can be healed, he still has his brain, his mind. He can go right back to doing the devious crap he's been doing. And the only people that want to do this, quite frankly, are devious-minded people.
And the question then related to this, what's the connection between our mortality and our morality?
I don't use the term immortality because I think it's a misnomer.
Let me answer that question. What's the connection between our mortality and our morality? Your mortality, meaning that you're going to die at some point in time, and your morality. They go hand in hand. The simple fact that you know at some point in time you're going to die, at somewhere along your life's journey, you get to a point where you say, okay, I've learned from my mistakes. I'm getting close to the end. I might want to do things differently. She's going to lay out a case for it's more moral for people to live longer. And I will say that, no, I don't think it's more moral. I don't think you need to practice euthanasia where you just kill elderly people. I think they should live their existing
I think it's
shut up. I think they should live their existing life to the fullest. But when you get to the point, ooh, I got raisins. I'm gonna give me some of these raisins. Hold on. I only got a few left. When you get to the point to where you live long enough and you know you're not gonna die, that's when people get in all kind of perversions and freaky and crazy stuff. I would dare to say it's why people who are possessed by spirits of fallen angels, how they want these taboo things. That's why demons are so lustful after taboo things when you come into agreement with them. They live forever. They had this thirst for these things. And the humans take on that thirst. And the other thing, these off-world entities that we know exist, Stan Dale talked about them, who benefits from humans living longer? For them having vessels that they can access longer, that they can be in partnership with longer, they can possess longer.
Heavily sequestered to the myths of the early proto-scientists, the Taoists. And it's also, think about Satra, no exit, you can't get out. It's, you're stuck there forever. So I think of immortality is not only a pipe dream, but it's an impossibility. Our solar system has a lifespan, our sun has a lifespan. So alternatively, I think about a limited lifespan for a person to live as long as he or she desires or is capable, and if not, then cryonics is an alternative until later medicine can catch up with the disease. But looking at this post-human era, I don't think we're there yet. I think that has been subscribed to us by the academics in postmodernism, and I think they reached out for the post-humanist era because they had no sensibility within academics and in the mainstream about technology and the advances in artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, nanomedicine, nanotechnology, CRISPR, like with genetic engineering or gene therapy, et cetera, at all. So I think there was this leap. I think we're in the transhuman era, where the transhumanist era is about a human in transition to becoming something other. Now, what is that other? That could be an evolved human. It could be a human merging with artificial intelligence. It could be a human that, in my view, would become more humane. So that's how I look at it in that regard. So immortality, no. Limited lifespan, yes. Redefining death, we've been doing that for eons, determining when someone dies and then we find out, oh, we could have cured that. We used to hold a mirror up to someone's nose, listen to their heart. We can, bring people back to life that 100, 200 years ago, even 50 years ago, were considered dead. So that transition to becoming a post-human, but not non-biological, not some avatar, some automata out there, but a human that's in the stage of post-biological, meaning not having a shelf life, not limited by our genetic makeup.
Right. So, but
a mouthful of bull crap is what this demon-infested looking female monkey just said. And I said this the first time I watched this video, and I'll say it again. If your genes are spliced at all away from the existing human genome, your behind is no longer human. There is no fluidity to humanity. There's no fluid nature to what it means to be human. And they want to add this fluid nature to everything, just like they added this fluid nature to gender and everything else. They're gender fluid. Now it's fluidity in humanity. So the minute you start to mutate the human body, that body is no longer human. Significantly mutate and change the DNA. Let's go here. And for those of you who joined in, who stepped away, trying to figure out what I'm talking about, I'm laying out a case for you, which is that many of the things that we're dealing with in the future, we have two, let me just bring it back to you guys. We have the existing world events that are going on, and these are shaping a pro-human future. This is the battle for a pro-human future and the survival of humanity. These are the people who are establishing a non-pro-human future. We haven't even transitioned to battle these people yet. So if we were to draw a line, if we were to draw an arrow, we haven't even started this fight yet at all. Come on, open up. We haven't even started this battle yet. Because we still trying to get these damn demons off of our neck. So we ain't got from there to there yet. We're trying. And the person who's actually the forefront of fighting this battle, coming from this direction, over in this direction, is actually RFK Jr., which is why you see RFK Jr. getting attacked all the time. All right. So I think we're all on the same page. I think we get it, right? I think we're all on the same page. Now, one more thing. What she's talking about, when she's talking about CRISPR gene editing and gene therapies and all the rest of this, let's just go ahead and understand that these people have the ability to do this.
The essence of being human is that we solve problems. And when we're faced with enormous problems,
the essence of being human is that we're made by God, not that we solve problems. And see, this is the problem. When you can define the essence of humanity based upon your scientific understanding, then you can do anything to it. So the essence of being human is that we solve problems. That's one of the traits of being a human. It's a trait of being a human. It's not the essence of being a human. But let's go ahead and keep on going.
Like disease and climate change, we need to solve them by collaboration. I'm excited to tell you about a new kind of collaboration that will absolutely create solutions to these big problems. It's a collaboration that's unexpected because it's between humans and the tiniest organisms that populate our planet, the bacteria and other microbes that live in, on, and around us. Bacteria may be small and unseen, but they often have inspired transformative innovations, including the one that has become the cornerstone of my own research. Over the past decade, I've been at the forefront of developing a revolutionary technology called CRISPR that has come from the study of how bacteria fight viral infection. CRISPR is amazing because it allows us to precisely edit the DNA in living organisms, including in people and plants. With CRISPR, we can change, remove, or replace the genes that govern the function of cells. This means that we now have the ability to use CRISPR like a word processor to find, cut, and paste text. CRISPR, amazingly...
All right, we're going to stop here before YouTube gets stupid and be like, oh, you're in a copyright, you could use their video. Now watch this. A genetically modified apple, is it an apple? Or is it a new thing? It can't be the original thing because the original thing, you modified it. So it looks like an apple. It tastes like an apple. It feels like an apple, but it's not an apple. And that's the true nature of this. You look like a human. You feel like a human. Her hair smell like a human. Her flesh feel like a human flesh. She got supple breasts is like a human woman, but that ain't no human woman. It's not. And when you really think about it, it's the same concept People want to talk about the Illuminati bloodlines, the Nephilim bloodlines, this bloodline, this bloodline. It's just they're mass producing it and bringing it to the forefront. And I've said over and over and over again, you know it's something that's serious when they allow you to go out and proselytize it and preach it and encourage you to preach it. Oh, the bloodline of the Nephilim. My cousin was a Nephilim. I'm from this bloodline. I'm from that bloodline. Yeah, it's clear as to what it is. You know, we could talk about news and events all day long because there's always going to be news and events. But this battle right here, this fight right here, is the fight that must be won. And this is the forefront in which I don't think there's enough attention because these clowns have done so much damage. I mean, just when you think about MS-13 and what they've done with open borders, when you start to think about what the Democratic Party has done, when you think about what's happened in the black community with them running the community down, when you think about the lawfare with the judges, and how it's so much to overcome just from this crap, we haven't gotten to the point to where we can focus on this yet. And this is where the focus needs to be. Focus needs to be on these issues. But we're still trying to figure out the past. So we're still trying to figure out the secret documents from the Nazis that were in Argentina. We're still trying to figure this crap out. While in the meantime, they have breakaway civilizations. They're already telling you they got underground cities and underground railroads, and they're prepared for the world to come to an end and for the sun to burn out and blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying, man, we way behind. Way behind. I'm out of here, dog.